When you decided on the world's largest comic book, did you realize how much you were getting yourself into?
Nope.
So what inspired this? What's the whole reason behind it?
The Royal Alberta Museum asked us to do something.
Said, we want you to do something with comics during our closing ceremonies because we're doing music, we're doing film, we're doing dance, and we want comics to be represented as part of our closing celebration of the arts. I was like, awesome. And they're like, come up with something. I'm like, I don't know. So I went for a meeting. We sat down with them, and they were just like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And I'm like, let's make the world's largest comic book. And they're like, awesome. And I'm like,
Perfect, yeah.
And now I will figure out how to do that. So
They were kind of suggesting, like, hey, you can just like do like 6 hours or 8 hours and just do something overnight or whatever. And I said, well, can we have the full 48?
Deciding that I really didn't need to keep the friends that I had, I offered up the opportunity to create the world's largest comic book in 48 hours.
Jay Bardyla is with Happy Harbor Comics, and he joins us this morning. Good morning, Jay.
good morning.
So tell me about the Mammoth comic book. Just how big is it going to be?
The book that we're going to make is going to be 5 feet tall.
Okay.
We're hand making the book, improvising it up on the spot with about 25 different creators from across Alberta,
Cool.
all in 48 hours, full color.
For myself, I was expecting to go in, spend 3-4 hours on Friday, get the writing done, putter off, drift back in Saturday, go, hey, this all looks neat, and then leave, and then come back, just kind of come in and see the fruits of all the labors, and that didn't turn out to be what my weekend was.
No, it was not.
It took longer to get the actual story rolling than expected.
Things fly out of it while the call story's in. I think that's not, yeah, I don't think it's going to change anything.
They knew it was going to be set in the museum, and they needed something for the bad guy to use and something for the good guys to use. And they're like, well, the bad guy will just resurrect the dinosaurs. And then it's like, okay, what do the good guys use? And that took them a while.
Early on, there was a lot of not wanting to sort of step on each other or limit creativity, and that was not what we needed to be doing in that environment.
Is the kite guy flying, and the Albertosaurus chomps like the back of the kite off as it's trying to like, I don't know, he's like shooting missiles at him or whatever the hell that thing's gonna do. And he's just flying, and he's just flying through, and the Albertosaurus is chomping the tail. Okay. And then in the next panel,
By about 7, Jay was like, the artists are getting antsy, we need stuff for them to do.
We had so many artists show up at the very beginning, and we hadn't a story written yet. So how do you keep artists organized and occupied and utilized when there's nothing for them to draw?
No. I like knitting.
They gave us a blank sheet of paper and a bunch of crayons and said, occupy yourself while the adults do the work.
If you want to get something done in 48 hours, I'm a bit more of a, let's tell the artist what they're going to draw. Just the way that we've been told that we've got 9 characters that we're going to write.
We have five or six writers that'll be working. They will be given the ideas. So the 2 ideas they know ahead of time that they have to incorporate in are the museum and the charity that we're supporting, the Edmonton Public Schools Foundation.
Okay.
And then we have 6 components that we're actually offering up for people that can donate to purchase. So for a $250 donation, you can purchase a character or you can purchase a plot point.
The people that bought the roles, and Jay probably didn't expect them to become the central characters, but they did.
They became all of the characters, really.
Darn near, yeah.
The character designs were the first thing to do, and we all kind of took one thing that we really liked and went forward so that the other artists had reference art. And then all of the references were posted up on the wall, which was such a good idea because I drew a baby. I didn't know that he was like 4, not baby. So little things like that were kind of important.
Terry Ma had come to me. He's been a file customer and a friend of mine for many, many years. When he had heard that, there was the opportunity to donate, to put someone in the comic, he wanted the whole family in there. Terry was the only individual who had been donated in the comic who was willing to allow himself to be bad, whereas everyone else wanted to be the good guy, so Terry by default became the villain. Their expectation was, oh, they're just going to appear in the book, and it's like, no, we made them the characters of the book.
We were sketching and trying to just think of some ideas and sketch the museum or sketch each other or whatever. And then after about an hour and a half, I was like, if we're not working on a page like right now, we are fatally putting ourselves behind and we might not finish on time.
We need to make the layout tonight, so you have to pick something or I'm just assigning you something.
In my mind, the amount of time it would take an artist to draw a page on that scale, I hadn't really kind of wrapped my head around.
So 5 feet. If I want to divide that into
and it did take a little bit longer.
It was a really weird experience having to step back and stand on a chair to really get a good view of the whole page.
I'm pretty sure we all found ourselves at one point or the other, like you know, working at a hair on an ear or whatever, and realizing like that's just not going to show up.
I don't think everyone really kind of grasped everything until we got well into the project. Now there are hordes of people coming to see us. We're getting shout outs on the radios and television, and there's people coming by the museum to like, what are you guys doing? Oh, I want to donate money.
It was exciting when somebody would come up and ask a question. People were truly interested, which was kind of nice.
I know I was working on a page drawing this princess. I had a gaggle of little girls behind me watching as I was drawing it. It was just funny that you had this like big cowboy guy, or not big, but you had an average-sized cowboy and a bunch of little girls like fawning over his artwork.
We're all eager, like, oh, like I'd love to tell you about all this stuff, right? Because no one really ever asks. Kyle was amazing. I always looked over and he had his headphones on and he was just like...
It's easier. It's easier when somebody else is in the trenches with you and you're doing your work and, you know, you're forgetting what time it is and it doesn't matter.
In the middle of the book, we had this cool feature page that featured everyone showing off all the different talents, all the different art styles coming together in one vision.
So the Japanese kites was the one that I did. It was the one that has like the Daruma doll on the back of it.
I tried to incorporate the golden ratio and the curl of the whip as well.
The museum did not have a T-Rex, but it had an Albertosaurus, and I gave him wicked feathers because that's true love. When dinosaurs someday down the road, you know, you love dinosaurs and then eventually they go like, hey, guess what? I kind of want to have feathers now. And you're like, you know what, dinosaurs, you rock those feathers. I still love you.
You know, the sun's coming up all of a sudden.
How tired are you?
Pretty tired.
Everyone's like, wow, this is massive and this is crazy.
Hey, if you need to take a break, that's fine.
I do. I think I should take a break so this page turns out at all.
As soon as a page was done, you could flip the spread over and start working on the next pages on the other side.
You have one sheet of paper to create 4 pages of a comic, which means you can only work on 2 pages of a comic at one time, which means you're not doing the book in order.
I hate this.
At times I felt horrible because I just wanted to look at everyone and go, draw faster, draw better, and get this done. But, you know, you can't.
I was seeing like the most extreme tracers I've ever experienced in my life.
Guys, I'm so tired. I just lost all feeling in my hand.
Oh no, what if this is like permanent damage?
I don't think this is worrisome. I think it's hilarious. And then I just cracked up.
People went ahead and made decisions without either double checking or just making that decision artistically and not realizing that we needed to make that decision across the entire comic book.
Yeah, it's my stressful phase.
This is Brandy.
Oh no, that's Nicole. Nicole, that's Emma.
No, Vada's the one with blonde hair and goggles.
That's not Vada.
There's just no way this gets done. It's just not going to happen. We are doomed.
By the time we started talking about color, time had become a factor.
If we were going to make the world's largest comic book, then it had to be in color.
So there was a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth over how we were going to deal with the color.
And there was already like downed bodies and all these artists that were not really mentally here, but they were about to be told that we're still doing it in color, so...
And then due to time constraints, we narrowed it down to 2 colors per page with pencil and crayons and just really quick shading.
We ended up using this weirdly crazy kind of idea of doing a slow, gradual tone shift of the colors throughout the entire comic. With this 2-tone system, it allowed each artist to interpret that 2-tone system in their own way and use those elements to create cool images that were fully colored on gigantic pieces of paper.
Rudy, we got to thank for lettering. Did he do the final letters on everything?
With the exception of the front cover, inside front cover, and inside back cover, I did all of the lettering.
He was like sitting there like a king, and stuff was like arriving at his desk, and then it would leave, and it was perfect.
With a project like this, where we don't really have the time or ability to do computer lettering, he needed somebody experienced in lettering by hand, even at a larger scale. We want to make sure that when the comic was shrunk down to the retail size, the standard comic book size that you see nowadays, that the lettering would still be large enough to be easily legible.
They didn't realize how much we were going to have to crunch down the book, so they needed to leave more space than it seemed like for lettering. Andrew's writing style, and he did most of the dialogue, is very verbose. There was a lot of just, oh my god, how are we going to fit this? What is happening?
There was going to be a lot of instances, more than I was comfortable with, of covering up artwork.
Andy talking to Kara in this panel. Yeah. Panel 4 is Kara saying, "Where's Dad?" Panel 5 is Brandy saying, "I don't know."
Because I was trying to avoid covering up any artwork, Andrew came back and started basically doing all the plot.
I guess you could say. I sort of very roughly laid them out, and then Rudy made them look like something that was presentable.
Where I thought a balloon should go is not where he or the other writers had envisioned it. And at a certain point, it was just, okay, no, you guys just do a rough sketch out of what you want the shape to be, and then I'll just fill it out, get somebody to cut out the outline, and then you guys can then paste it where you intended it to go. And then I didn't have to worry about whether or not it was covering up anything or what the position on the page needed to be. Once I sort of got all these balloons and such done up, I had other helpers cutting out the balloons. And then pasting them onto the finished pages.
There was like a gluing frenzy in the last couple hours.
When I went home Saturday, Sunday morning, whenever it was, there was no idea for the back cover. And so at 3 o'clock, I'm like, hey, I got a funny idea for the back cover. And I haven't actually drawn anything for the comic, so what I wanted to do was just a little doodle of me on the very bottom corner, about yay big, looking up at this big blank space with this word balloon going, no back cover. That's a bold aesthetic choice. Fantastic Amazers creative team. Kudos. Kudos to you. And Jay's like, we're gonna have a drop mic. And I'm like, okay, that's probably better. But I'm like, I wish somebody told me that before I got up at 3 in the morning to text it to you. I mean, at least you weren't there for that last scramble. Because that got
hectic.
Yeah.
I did not doubt us.
With, I think, an hour to spare, we had kind of forgotten about the cover.
Well, okay.
And I was just sitting there, like, in my mind going, like, we don't have much time. Mel had decided that she was gonna do this wonderful rainbow gradient on the lettering. Okay, you go, you do that, and we'll handle the rest. And we all finished the rest, and she was still going.
Royal Alberta Museum will be closing in 15 minutes.
Dan was like hovered over the title page at the very end.
And I'm like, just go fast. No, if I'm gonna do this, I wanna do this right. This is the thing I'm gonna do with all my heart and all my artistic skill. She would not budge.
It's 4:59.
Do half your artistic skill.
We have like 10 seconds.
Speed that up a bit.
Get your ass off of there. Let's do this.
It was somewhere around like 3 seconds left. We closed the book.
Hey, did we make it, folks?
I feel like that was as close as you're gonna get making a comic book that feels like a world championship, and you're like your whole team were like, yeah!
Welcome to Happy Harbor Comics!
The book itself, the finished book, which is 5 feet tall and 6.5 feet wide, is being reproduced into 3 different size formats. There's like a standard comic book size, kind of a slightly larger comic book size, and then a half size edition, which is 2.5 feet tall by 1.5 feet wide. For the sale of every one of those books, there's a percentage that's donated back to the Edmonton Public Schools Foundation.
So many options.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I did.
I had trouble you for a signature.
Yeah, for $20.
Bring it back to getting signatures on my fine work.
Where do you want it?
Over there? Yeah.
So there will be a little bit of differences with the reproduced books than the original. On the back page, we added photographs from the event that Dale had taken during the process. We've added a little write-up to let people know why this book even exists. And we added an extra dedication on the inside front cover to Terry Ma for his contribution and his efforts to it. A few months after the book was done, Terry very unexpectedly passed away. And that was pretty tough for a lot of us because it was completely unexpected and by all rights should never have happened. He and his family have been contributing to all sorts of different fundraisers that we've done throughout the years. They've never stopped giving back. It would sound cliche to say if it wasn't for him there wouldn't be a Happy Harbor, but if it wasn't for him I may not have turned myself around. I'd left the comic book store where he was a customer, going through a divorce and kind of between jobs and stuff. And Terry actually gave me the opportunity to come and work for him. That job gave me the opportunity to kind of open the first shop, the first Happy Harbor, because it gave me the time, it gave me the resources and the ability to do that. So yeah, if it hadn't been for him, things would be much, much different, for sure.
To be able to be a part of that is really great because, like, you might not get to have that again.
there anyone you'd like to thank? Oh, well, Jay and all of his lovely employees at Happy Harbor.
Jay is like one of like the only sources of like actual inspiration.
Jay does not boast, and somebody needs to boast on his behalf.
He's just always up for helping out.
Biggest thing I remember afterwards is just thanking Jay because I really didn't think I had it in me.
Honestly, I never think that anyone ever notices if I work really hard.
When someone invests in you and takes time out of their life for you, it means that obviously you are doing something right.
Thank you to Alina.
She was like up like the whole time and like making sure everyone was like alive and stuff.
The other artists for being super supportive.
I did know or know of a lot of these people, but I ended up making friends with these people.
We did a thing that no sane people should ever do, and we made it work.
Ken had built this table. Ed from security was like, whatever you guys need, just let me know. We're gonna get it. The caretakers, the PR people, and everyone.
It's not really about the 48 hours or the comic book. It's the opportunity to work with all of your friends on one thing at one time, knowing that it's a high possibility that it'll be finished at the end. That's a huge deal.
Everybody put in a stupid quantity of effort.
It was perfect. You know, you couldn't have asked for kind of better conditions and circumstances or better people to work with.
So thanks for being stupid, everyone.
That makes me want to do it again. I asked Jay.
No, I'm not. This is an annual thing.
Apparently he's already been thinking about it.
I'm not gonna stay up. I was up for 62 hours.
And he wants to do it bigger. He wants to go like 6 feet 6 inches.
You don't do this annually. You don't even think about when you might do it again in the near future. That said, I do have a plan in mind on how to do it again. Actually, how to beat our existing record, but that's for another time.
Oh, Jay. That sounds wonderful.
Okay.
That works. Well, thank you.
B-roll!
Okay, sweet baby Jesus.
It's just gonna be Sylvia moving.
Oh.
I said fuck. Fuck.
Where do you want it?
Anywhere on the back.
Stop it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
What?
You're the worst.
That's when I was really excited. Okay, that was the best. They let me take a selfie at the very end. I brought my stupid selfie stick the whole weekend and I didn't use it at all. And then finally at the very end when we were done, I asked if we could take a selfie and Jay's like, fine. And I was like, oh.
Once the book was actually finished, what we had were these, just giant sheets of paper that don't fit on a scanner. So how are you going to reproduce this? Again, Dale at Pagemaster is like, well, I got a big giant room. We're just gonna light it all up, slap the pages to the wall, and we're gonna set up all this camera equipment with vectors, levels, computers beside it. One sheet up on the wall, photo capture, flip photo capture. Next sheet, mid-January, I contacted Dale. Hey, how's it coming along? He's like, well, I don't think they're very good. Doing it the second time, I had a detached retina and I had gone in for eye surgery. So now I was trying to help him stand in this really intensely well-lit room with one good eye and another eye that just won't stop watering. He'd be like, come look at the computer. And I'm like, I don't want to look at the computer. And he's like, what do you think? I said, I think I can't see very well.
At a certain point, I was using my backup computer and it started doing some very strange, annoying things. Some woman who was actually a staff member of the museum came by and was saying, oh yeah, is there anything I can do to help? I go, can you please, for the love of God, print out this script a couple times so that Rudy at least has a copy and whoever's doing the lettering has a copy too, because right now we're like ferrying the computer, like the laptop back and forth. So she went and made us 2 hard copies and she printed it on both sides, which is not the way to do a comic script. So I'm like, thank you, I love you, you're great. And she walked away and I'm like, son of a bitch! They weren't stapled together, so at least for me, I probably got them mixed up and I couldn't figure out which page was what page.
I don't even know why Jay did it. He doesn't know why either, because he just started talking to the crowd, and I guess he was just really tired, and he decided that, oh, let's just read the comic now. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he mentioned, like, I don't know why I read it after to, like, a bunch of people were supposed to leave the museum.
I thought it started in the AM, not the PM, so I was at the event a full 12 hours before it started. Walked into the museum. The women there were the most kind, courteous women and did not question the fact that I showed up a full 12 hours early to the event. Were the sweetest could be. As I said, I'm here to start the 48-hour comic. 12 hours early, they said everything's upstairs. You meet the guys there. I did not think anything of it. Went upstairs, not a soul in sight. It was just a taped off area with the giant sign saying that we're gonna start at the PM.
It was from my suggestion. I just sort of it was a case of I was sort of pontificating out loud. It's like, oh, it sure would be nice if we had a slide rule. Oh, it sure would be nice if we had a light table to help us out with the layout materials.
You're dealing with sheets of paper that are 5 feet tall and 6.5 feet wide. Who's got a light table that big? Turned out the museum did. It was down buried in the basement. And Ed's like, I'm pretty sure I know where it is. And we go and we dig it out, and it's a light table from like the mid-60s. Like, it's marked and labeled, and we're slapping it on a cart and dragging it up to the museum and bringing it up to our space, and everyone's like, what is that? And we're like, it's 200 pounds of metal light table, baby.
Those letters, the Fantastic Amazers, looks fantastic and amazing. That was really cheesy, and I'm kind of sad that I said that, but it's gonna stay.
Oh God, stay hydrated, folks. If you ever end up drawing the world's largest comic, stay hydrated.
What are the consequences of not staying hydrated? Just as a reminder.
Claw hands. I mean, if you're not into that kind of thing, then it's a problem. If you do like claw hands, then you'll be totally okay. So.
Eat sand.
For whatever.